Have you ever found yourself caught in the invisible web of someone else's memory? Unable to break free? A former lover? A trusted friend? Or perhaps even someone who wounded you in ways that words could never fully capture? Their presence lingers like a quiet ghost, showing up in dreams, slipping into silent afternoons, coloring your emotions without permission. You may have moved on in every outward way. New relationships, new achievements, a new version of yourself. And yet, some part of you still circles around their memory, as if your soul remains tethered to a story unfinished. If this feels familiar, know that you are not alone. Over decades of studying both the mind and the soul, through Western psychology and the ancient teachings of Zen Buddhism, I have seen this invisible struggle echo across countless lives. And here's the truth you need to hear. This isn't weakness. It isn't failure. It's an invitation. What if the persistent thought of that person is not a wound to suppress, but a doorway to awaken through? Today we'll journey deep into the profound wisdom of Zen to uncover 7 powerful reasons why certain people refuse to leave your mind. And more importantly, how you can gently transform this experience into a path toward profound inner freedom. Stay with me, because by the time we reach the 7th reason, you may find not just closure, but a key to unlocking a freer, wiser, more compassionate version of yourself. If this resonates with you, and you're ready to explore these teachings with me, consider subscribing to Mindful Glow. That way, you won't miss any future videos filled with insights, practical wisdom, and powerful lessons to help you on your spiritual journey. 1. Attachment disguised as love. When someone refuses to leave your mind, it's easy to convince yourself that this constant thinking is a sign of deep love. You might find yourself replaying moments in your head, recalling conversations, and wishing things had turned out differently. You tell yourself, I just can't stop thinking about them because my love for them is so profound. But Zen Buddhism offers a gentle reminder that true love and attachment are not the same. True love brings peace, while attachment brings suffering. True love is expansive, free, and liberating. It allows you to love someone fully without the need to possess them. It creates space for both people to be who they truly are, without fear or neediness. Love, in its purest form, is about embracing someone as they are, not trying to change them or make them fit into your life in a way that makes you feel whole. True love is peaceful, allowing both people to grow while still holding each other with care and compassion. On the other hand, attachment is tight, suffocating, and demanding. It whispers, I need you to feel complete. I need you to be here for me. It creates a longing that can never fully be satisfied, a jealousy that lingers even when the person is far away, and an anxiety that never quite goes away. Attachment convinces you that without the other person, something is missing in your life, that you need them to feel whole. And in this constant cycle of wanting, you never truly find peace. I remember holding on to a past relationship, thinking that my persistent thoughts were proof of my love for them. I would replay the good times, the moments we shared, and yearn for a connection that had faded. But over time, through meditation and reflection, I realized something deeper. It wasn't the person I missed. It was the parts of myself I had attached to them. The identity I had built around them. I had attached my sense of self to the idea of who I was with them, not the reality of who they truly were. Buddhism teaches us that attachment is like holding a hot coal, intending to throw it at someone. But in the end, you are the one who gets burned. When your mind aches with the memory of someone, ask yourself gently, is this pure love, or is it my own clinging heart crying out for completion? In that moment of reflection, you might find that true love has always been within you. It is not something that comes from another person, nor is it something you need to chase or hold on to. True love is a quiet, peaceful presence within yourself, a space that is already full, needing nothing. The key to finding real love is to let go of attachment, to allow love to flow freely without expectation. It is not something to be found outside of yourself, but something that can be nurtured and shared with others when you are already whole within. 2. Unresolved karma. Karma in Buddhist philosophy isn't about cosmic punishment or retribution. Rather, it's an unfolding process, a path toward completion. It's the unfinished business of our hearts, the emotions we've yet to fully acknowledge, the lessons we haven't yet learned. Karma isn't about blame, it's about healing. When someone lingers in your thoughts, stubbornly refusing to fade, it's often a sign that there's unresolved karmic work between you and them. This isn't just about their physical absence, it's about the emotional energy that still holds a place in your heart. Perhaps there's a hurt that's never been fully addressed, forgiveness that's never been granted, or gratitude that's still unspoken. These unprocessed emotions can linger in your mind, looping over and over, even after the person is no longer a part of your life. I remember an old friend who would often pop into my thoughts, even though years had passed since we last spoke. No matter how much time passed, they seemed to occupy a space in my mind, like an unresolved chord that wouldn't fade. It wasn't until I sat down with myself in the quiet of meditation that I truly realized what was going on. It wasn't the person I missed, it was the unresolved feelings that I hadn't fully processed. There was a lingering sorrow, yes, but also unexpressed gratitude for the good times we shared. The karmic thread between us hadn't been completed, and it was holding me captive. Zen Buddhism reminds us that the people who disturb our minds most fiercely are often the teachers we need the most. They challenge us to confront what we've been avoiding. Instead of pushing them away or pretending they don't matter, try pausing and asking yourself gently, what thread remains untied between us? What truth still waits for my embrace? By sitting with these questions, you open the door to healing. You don't need to forget or erase what happened, but you do need to face the emotions that haven't been acknowledged. In that space of vulnerability, the energy between you and that person begins to loosen. You start to see that it wasn't about them, it was about you. Your growth, your forgiveness, your ability to release what no longer serves you. Healing is not about forgetting. It's about releasing what holds you back and giving yourself the freedom to move forward. Once you do, the karmic tie begins to dissolve, and you find that the person, the memory, and the emotional weight that once burdened you no longer have the power to disturb your peace. 3. Attachment to outcome. Sometimes, the reason someone lingers in your thoughts isn't about them at all, but rather the story you keep telling yourself about how things should have turned out. You replay the future you once imagined, the reconciliation, the validation, the what could have been. These imagined scenarios loop over and over like a film that never ends, and no matter how many times you watch it, the ending always stays the same. Zen Buddhism offers us a different way of thinking about these attachments to outcomes. It teaches the idea of beginner's mind, a fresh, open approach to life where we stop expecting things to unfold in a specific way. When we hold on tightly to a particular outcome, we trap ourselves in a mental cage, endlessly cycling through what-ifs and if-onlys, instead of allowing life to unfold as it will. The more we cling to the need for control, the more we push away the peace and growth that comes from accepting things as they are. I've been there. I spent years replaying the fantasy of fixing a broken relationship, imagining a future where everything fell into place perfectly. I held on to the idea of what could be, if only certain things were different. But in reality, no matter how much I tried to rescript the past, it never worked. The more I resisted the reality of what had happened, the more stuck I became. It wasn't until I learned to release the need for a specific outcome that peace started to gently seep into my life. I had to stop trying to control what was out of my hands and trust in the natural flow of life. Life doesn't unfold according to our desires or fears, but through its own perfect wisdom. Sometimes we have to let go of the illusion of control and embrace the present as it is. We can stop rewriting the past and instead live in the moments as they come. This shift in perspective allows us to feel lighter. It's like setting down a heavy burden. Once we stop fighting against the present, we start to experience the freedom that comes from simply being. And in doing so, we open ourselves up to life's natural unfolding, which is always much more beautiful and freeing than any script we could write. 4. Illusion of permanence. When you're caught in the emotional afterglow of someone's memory, it's so easy to believe that the intensity of those feelings will never fade. You might feel as if the pain you carry will last forever, that the longing will never subside, that the ache in your heart is permanent. But Zen Buddhism offers us a gentle yet profound reminder. Impermanence governs all things. Nothing stays the same forever, not even the most intense emotions. What once bloomed will wither. What once hurt will soften. Even the most stubborn thoughts and feelings, which seem so permanent in the moment, are subject to change. They were never meant to last forever, despite how real or consuming they may feel in the present. I remember the fear that consumed me when I was grieving the loss of someone close to me. I feared that the sorrow I felt would never end, that the sharpness of the pain would never dull. In those moments, it felt like a weight I couldn't shake off, a constant presence in my life. But over time, something shifted. Like mist dissipating in the early light of dawn, the intensity of my grief began to fade when I stopped fighting it. Instead of pushing the sadness away or trying to forget, I simply allowed the sorrow to exist without judgment, without resistance. I sat with it, acknowledged it, and in doing so, it slowly began to soften. This understanding that everything is impermanent is not just a comforting platitude we offer ourselves in times of struggle. The phrase, "this too shall pass," is a reflection of the very fabric of reality itself. No emotional state, no matter how overwhelming, is permanent. Life itself is in constant flux, and so are our feelings. Next time the ache feels endless, next time the sadness feels all-consuming, take a moment to breathe deeply and whisper softly to yourself, "This, too, is only passing through." In that simple acknowledgement, we give ourselves permission to stop clinging to the pain, to stop believing that it defines us. We allow ourselves to flow with life, knowing that just as this moment of sorrow arose, it will eventually pass. And with it, a new moment, a new feeling, a new experience will take its place. 5. Clinging to memories. Sometimes it's not the person holding you hostage, but the memories you refuse to release. We often cling to these snapshots of the past, believing that without them we would lose a piece of ourselves. These memories, once vivid and full of life, can become the lens through which we view the present, trapping us in a version of life that no longer exists. We allow the past to define our present, to shape who we think we are. But in reality, we're holding on to a version of what was, not what is. I recall a time when I couldn't let go of the memory of a dear friend. I would replay our time together in my mind, living in the moments we shared, as if holding on to those memories was the only way to keep them close. But when I took a step back and truly reflected, I realized something important. I wasn't really missing the person. I was attached to the idea of who they were, an idea shaped by nostalgia, not truth. The person I remembered no longer existed, and yet I was clinging to a version of them that was never real. Zen Buddhism encourages us to see memories like drifting clouds, beautiful to witness, but never meant to be grasped. Just as clouds move across the sky, memories come and go. They hold their beauty in their transience, not in their permanence. When we hold on too tightly to the past, we deny ourselves the full experience of the present moment, which is where life truly unfolds. The Buddha once taught, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." This powerful teaching reminds us that the present is the only place where we can truly live. The past, with all its beauty and pain, is gone. The future, with all its uncertainty, has yet to come. Only the present moment is real, and it is here that we can find peace. When we cling to memories, we are not honoring them. We are letting them steal our peace. To truly honor the past, we must allow it to exist as it was, fleeting, beautiful, and now a part of who we were, not who we are becoming. Let go of what no longer serves you, and make space for what is here now. Only then can we embrace the fullness of the present and step into the future with clarity and grace. 6. Lack of self-forgiveness. Sometimes it's not the person who occupies your thoughts, but yourself. The person may have long been out of your life, but the thoughts about them often hide something much deeper. Unspoken regrets, feelings of shame or guilt. These emotions become like a veil, preventing you from seeing that the real source of your pain is not them, but you. Words left unsaid, mistakes made, opportunities missed. These are the things we punish ourselves for, long after the situation has passed. I remember a time when I couldn't stop thinking about someone. The memories would replay over and over in my mind, and I kept wondering how things might have turned out differently. But when I paused and really looked inside, I realized something important. I wasn't actually missing the person. What was truly occupying my thoughts was my inability to forgive myself. The shame and guilt I carried from the past had locked me in a prison, and the memory of that person was just the key I had given myself to stay trapped. Through this process, I began to realize that compassion must start with ourselves. We often forget that forgiving ourselves is not a luxury or something we can do when we have time. It is essential for our own inner freedom. If we don't forgive ourselves, we remain stuck in the past, unable to move forward, unable to fully embrace the present. Self-forgiveness isn't about ignoring or justifying our mistakes. It's about understanding and accepting our imperfections. When we allow ourselves to forgive, we free ourselves from the weight of self-criticism and guilt. It's the first step toward finding peace, inner freedom, and the ability to move forward in life, embracing new opportunities and relationships with an open heart. 7. Spiritual assignment, unfulfilled. Finally, some souls enter our lives not to complete us, but to awaken us. They are not meant to stay forever, nor are they here to fix us. Instead, their purpose is to help us uncover parts of ourselves that have been lying dormant. These relationships, though often painful, are not accidents. They are spiritual assignments, opportunities for us to grow and evolve in ways we may not have chosen on our own. I remember struggling deeply with the memory of someone who had hurt me profoundly. For a long time, I tried to push their memory away, hoping that by ignoring it, the pain would disappear. But the more I resisted, the more present they seemed. And then one day, I realized something that shifted everything. They were not just a source of pain. They were a mirror, reflecting something in me that I needed to face. Without their presence, I might have remained asleep, blind to the parts of myself that needed healing. Rather than asking, "Why can't I forget them?" I began to ask myself a more profound question. What awakening are they guiding me toward? That shift in perspective allowed me to see the situation not as something I needed to escape, but as something that was meant to teach me. They weren't just a reminder of the past, but a doorway to a deeper understanding of myself. When we approach these painful relationships with a sense of reverence instead of resentment, something incredible happens. The hurt begins to transform. We start to see these connections not as obstacles, but as stepping stones toward our own enlightenment. Instead of clinging to the bitterness of the past, we can embrace the wisdom it offers. Life is full of lessons that come in unexpected forms. Often, those who challenge us the most are the ones who push us toward growth. When we accept the idea that not all relationships are meant to last forever, but rather to awaken us to the truth of who we are, we begin to approach them with gratitude, not resentment. Even the most painful experiences, when viewed through this lens, become part of our spiritual evolution. As we reach the end of this journey through the Zen teachings, it becomes clear that the person who refuses to leave your mind is not just a reminder of a past you can't let go of, but a catalyst for your growth. They are a mirror, reflecting parts of yourself that may need healing, forgiveness, or understanding. Through the lens of Zen, we are reminded that nothing, not even the most persistent memories or painful attachments, is permanent. The emotional web they've woven around you is simply a space for transformation if you choose to see it as such. Instead of trying to force their memory out or allowing it to control your thoughts, embrace it as an invitation to deepen your awareness of yourself. What is this person teaching you? What lessons remain unlearned? What parts of you are calling out to be healed? By approaching the situation with curiosity rather than resistance, you allow yourself the freedom to release what no longer serves you, and you begin to transform these thoughts into opportunities for personal and spiritual growth. Zen teaches us that true freedom lies not in controlling the past or the people who once walked through our lives, but in accepting what is, with full presence and love. When we let go of the illusion of permanence, we make space for healing, growth, and new possibilities. It's time to stop clinging to what was and step into the fullness of the now. If this resonates with you and you're ready to explore these teachings further, I invite you to join us at Mindful Glow. Subscribe to our channel and stay connected to a community where wisdom, mindfulness, and deep insights can help you on your path to inner peace and liberation. Let go, embrace the present, and walk the journey toward a freer, wiser you.